webinar today. So if you know of folks who would have liked to have been here but couldn't, it'll be available for them online as well. So to formally get us started and welcomed, this is our Getting Ready for April webinar, which we've done annually in February for several years, to hear from you and share ideas across our network and across the state around what's happening in April, Child Abuse Prevention Month, and throughout the year in our work, so we can continue to learn from one another. To start us off today, I would like to make the case that one of the best ways to prevent child abuse and neglect, if not the best way, is to create the conditions for wellness. And when parents have the support and help they need to be at their best, they're able to nurture their children well. And when we all practice habits that help us be at our best, we are most able to help and support others, help and support one another, help and support parents to be at their best as well. So I'd like us to start today. As you're coming to the webinar, it's easy on webinars to be distracted by lots of other things. Really easy if you're just joining to listen later, for anybody who might be listening to the recording, to not give our full attention. And so I'd ask you to set aside this time to give your full attention to this, to be part of this conversation, and to start by taking a moment to notice your attention, to bring your attention to yourself. Maybe notice any sensations that are happening in your body. Take a few deep breaths. Invite your mind and body to be calm and present. And take a moment to reflect on what helps you be at your best. What helps you be well? And as you reflect, I will leave some gaps for silence, but I'll also continue speaking as others are joining so they can know what we're doing. We are taking a moment to notice how we are right now, notice any sensations in our body. If we've been busy today, to give ourselves a moment to recenter, to take a few deep breaths, or just notice our breath and see how it wants to shift, if it wants to shift. And to bring to mind the habits or practices that help you be at your best. And I'd really like to invite your voices into the room right from the beginning. I notice the text box is flashing, so Mary, let me know if there's anything in there I should be aware of. Perhaps some of you are sharing through the text box what helps you be at your best. You could certainly do that, and we would read those out. And if you'd be willing to share out loud what helps you be at your best, please raise your hand. We'd love to hear from you, hear your voice. What helps you be at your best? I see music and time alone added to the text box as things that help Roxy be at her best. Deb says taking meditative pauses, keeping hydrated. Pausing, I think, is one of the things that we underestimate the power of and don't have built into our culture as a habit. And when we pause, we can choose if the track that we're on is the one that will get the outcome we want, or if we're just going by automatic pilot and maybe not ending up where we intend to in any given day or moment. So it's one thing that I personally am trying to learn a lot better, and so try to build into everything that we do. So throughout, we'll take a couple of those today during this webinar as well. Tammy says relaxation, massage, movies with the kids. I don't see any hands, and I'm tired of hearing my voice, so I would love to hear a voice too. I know that takes a little extra putting yourself out there.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, this is Lisa Deputy.
Hi, Lisa.
I tried to type it in, but I don't know, maybe it didn't come up. But rest, a good night's sleep, sleeping well always puts me at my best. And also
Muted.
I don't know if you can hear me, but everything is muted.
Unmuted.
Okay, now can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, something was happening. Thank you, Tammy. Also said I don't know if somebody said that everything was muted. That might have been whoever did. Thank you. I don't know what our mute. There was something going crazy with the muting system. So now, Lisa, I could hear you too. Would you like to finish your thought?
Okay, yeah, I was just saying, and also drinking plenty of water.
Yes. Great. Anyone else like to share what helps you be at your best? Which then allows you to help others be at their best, right?
Good afternoon. This is Barb.
Hey, Barb.
You know what? When I sit and take in these webinars at my desk, I have my headphones on, and I have to sit back and close my eyes so I can really hear what you're saying, take in what people are saying. So that helps.
Mm-hmm. So for you, it helps sometimes limiting the sensory input helps you focus your sense. So since this one is largely about listening, for you, closing your eyes helps you focus and helps you take it in.
Right. Taking notes at the same time, but.
Well, thank you. So today I'm gonna, Mary will continue to keep an eye on those, and I don't know if Mary maybe got muted too. There was something, for those of you who are panelists or organizers, if you could mute yourself when you're not speaking, that would be great. And then the rest of you will raise a hand and we will unmute you if you have something to say. It helps to keep folks on mute because then it minimizes background noise for the whole of the group. Okay, so I'll just walk through through our agenda for today briefly. We are going to, I'm going to share a little bit about what we're planning this year and what's available, what the ideas we're thinking about for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Then we're going to hear from some of you. A couple of folks are already prepared and planning to share, and we would love to hear from all of you. So if you would like to share in that section of the webinar about what you're doing, what you're planning for Child Abuse Prevention Month, it's always a really rich conversation to be able to hear from others. And then we'll touch base on some sort of ongoing resources and things that are available year to year, and then do a bit of a closing checkout. So that's what our agenda is for today. And so I will just start in with what our plans at Minnesota Communities Caring for Children are this year. As many of you know, we have been over the last couple of years using the name Minnesota Communities Caring for Children as our sort of primary name. We are also still the Minnesota chapter of Prevent Child Abuse America, and so therefore Prevent Child Abuse Minnesota. The Minnesota Communities Caring for Children name really allows us to talk more about and present ourselves more about what we're trying to create as opposed to what we're trying to stop, to have our focus on creating wellness and creating caring and partnering with caring communities across the state in a co-learning kind of process. So just a brief thing about our name transition, but we still do use the name Prevent Child Abuse Minnesota as well. So some of you may have heard about the movie Paper Tigers. And we held a screening of it in the Twin Cities in the fall and have access to an ability to hold screenings of it throughout the state in April. The movie is about a school in Washington State, in Walla Walla, Washington, where they really took seriously the science of trauma, learned it across many systems in their community, including the schools, and shifted how they respond to people. We talk in the ACE, Adverse Childhood Experiences work that we do, and resilience work, we talk a lot about shifting from a what's wrong with you mindset to a what happened to you mindset, and understanding how we often respond automatically to stress in ways that don't get the outcomes that we want. And so it's looking in the movie, particularly, is a documentary about a school in Washington where they had some really tremendous outcomes by sharing that science with not only their faculty but the students themselves, and looking at how that changes their school community and how that changes their discipline. And they had really, really remarkable, tremendous results. There is a website, papertigersmovie.com, which you can see a trailer of if you like. We also, so we're going to be partnering with communities across the state, probably trying to get one at least in each region to have viewings of this movie. We aren't probably going to be able to accommodate every place that's interested, just because we have at this point one copy of the DVD, and we're also part of our arrangement with Prevent Child Abuse America and the producers of the film is to have a staff person present and host a community conversation after the film as well. So if that's something you're interested in, you can let me know. We can either talk about possibly hosting it in your community, or connecting you with a community nearby where it will be presented. Also, we just got word that to end the Child Abuse Prevention Month this year, on April 30th, we are going to be going to a Twins game, and we have some discounted tickets available, and you can watch for more information about that. With hopefully we'll have everybody who's at the game sitting together in a section. It's on April 30th. It's a game on April 30th. We asked for the game as far into April as we could, hoping that the weather would be good, hoping that it wouldn't be too cold out there at the ballpark. And we're aiming to have them have a whole sea of pinwheels and get on the jumbotron is the goal and the hope. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Also, we're doing in the Twin Cities, for any of you who are in the Twin Cities or happen to be in the Twin Cities, we're doing a couple of happy hours. There's one coming up, actually that's not in April, but I thought I'd mention it just this Thursday at the Macalester College Alumni House from 5 to 7. We'd love to have you join us there. And then the final thing that I'll mention right now is that we often do webinars in the spring as part of Child Abuse Prevention Month. And this year we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a webinar series, but rather than having it be sort of random webinars, we're doing a series on coaching, and coaching for both individual transformation and healing and for community empowerment. And it's a series of 10 webinars. It starts on March 2nd. You may have seen our promotion about it already, but it's coming up soon. It'll go twice a month, March through July. And we are hoping that people will sign up to attend most of them. We're asking people to commit to at least 8 of them. And the reason we're doing that differently this year, knowing that's a bigger commitment, is we also know from adult learning research that when we do something, just a one-time thing, it really doesn't have that big of an impact in our lives and in our work. It does. That change takes practice and takes an ongoing conversation. And so our hope is that by doing something that has more installments, more opportunities to connect and come together and practice, that this offering will have a greater impact. So if you know of somebody who might be interested, if you're interested, if you'd like to spread the word, I'll be showing you our website a little bit later on, so we can show you how to get to the information of it on the website. Really would love to encourage and invite people to attend that series. Because I thought I'd hit on a few of the new things, our focus for this year and our efforts this spring, I'm going to pause now and so we can hear from some others sooner in the process, and then I'll come back later to more. So Abby Dahl is on the line as a panelist, and Abby has graciously agreed to share some of the work that's happening in her community. And Abby, if you're ready, I will hand it over to you. If you have a camera and would like to share your screen, it's nice for people to be able to see your picture while you talk. There should be a little camera icon, a movie camera icon you can click. And if you don't, that's okay too. We didn't practice that ahead of time. So Abby, can you, there she comes. Oh, nope, that's Lisa sharing her screen. Hi, Lisa. Any of the others of you out there, if you would like to, it's that adds a nice additional component to it. Okay, Abby, I'll stop talking and listen for you. Abby, looks like you're muted. I'm sorry for that pause a moment ago. Kate was just letting me know about another presenter. There. Maybe now we can hear you, Abby. Abby, are you speaking? It
is showing that she is unmuted, so.
Yes. I'm wondering, Abby, I'm looking to see.
She is speaking, so.
She is speaking, but we can't hear her.
Or she has a microphone.
Right. Yeah, Roxy's wondering about a microphone. You know, maybe what I'll do is, Abby, and I apologize to all of you that we didn't have this worked out ahead of time. Abby, if it's possible for you to try, leave your computer on and then call in using a telephone. If you click on audio, on the audio button on the dashboard, and then click telephone, it'll give you a phone number to call in, and we can maybe try that. So meanwhile, I'm wondering if others of you would be willing to share what's happening in your communities while we're having some technical difficulty. Is there someone who would be? And I apologize, we actually have another person who's lined up to speak that we're also having technical difficulty with. So if there's someone else who would be willing to share, we'd love to hear from you.
Hello?
Yes, Lisa.
Yeah.
Would you like to share some things? Oh, no, I'm sorry. She's
Can I see you?
Muted. Unmuted.
Okay. So Roxy, let me know that that Abby can call in. So hopefully we will be able to hear from her soon. I'm not seeing any hands. Just a moment. Excuse me.
This is the lookup call to actually hear their voice. There's a different access.
Oh, great.
They're muted.
Unless they have a code, but they don't need a code for this one.
This code allows them to be panelists so they can speak, but
Got
the
it.
code is so that they're participants, so they're muted. So that's
Okay.
the number you should
Okay. Great. Thank you again. If anyone is on a telephone, oh, I see Abby now as a panelist, and it looks like she's muted from her end. Abby, if you get a, I'm going to type onto my screen for anyone who is on a telephone. Oh, looks like Abby might be available.
Can you hear me?
Yay! Yes, thank you.
Yay!
Okay, Abby, welcome, and thanks to everyone else for your patience through this. Hopefully you.
Yes, sorry about that.
No,
it was my fault. It wasn't your fault. When I dialed in, I didn't type in the audio code. So that was the issue there. So Thank you for telling me to call back because I got the audio code when I called
Great.
back.
Okay, please share with us what's happening in your community.
Yeah, so I work for the Crisis Nursery serving Wright County. So what our organization does is help families that are in crisis situations that reside in Wright County. We step in and offer services to the family to help minimize any risk of abuse or neglect on behalf of the children. So in order to receive our services, you have to reside within Wright County boundaries. So we obviously go through the appropriate steps to ensure that the families that we are serving live within our county. And I started with this program in July, and I'm the development coordinator. So what I do is basically outreach and income development, and then we have a social worker that's on staff full-time with our organization as well. And we have an intern and a social work aide that helps assist Consuelo, our social worker, with their tasks. So that's a quick little overview of our program. And when I came on board with the Crisis Nursery, I was just kind of looking at what we did within the community and what our outreach looked like. And it seemed like there was a pretty significant gap with the amount of outreach that we did in outlying areas of the community. Our office is based within Monticello, so we do quite a bit of outreach within Monticello and Buffalo, but I was trying to problem solve and figure out how we could, with the minimal amount of resources that we do have, how we could reach some of the outlying areas within the county. And so I came up with this idea to do an event called Paint the County Blue. And so what this is it's going to be a 30-day campaign of driving child abuse and awareness within Wright County. So my hope for this campaign, being that it's the first year, is we are going to kind of establish a framework of what we want this 30-day event to look like going forward. So we're really going to focus on using a minimal amount of platforms that have a large audience to get the word out. So we're going to be putting our 24-hour hotline number in newspapers. We have a couple of billboards that we're putting up on I-94, which is a major highway. That obviously includes Wright County. And then we're putting a billboard up on Highway 65, which is right in the middle of Wright County. And we are partnering with schools. So I've held a lot of meetings with different members, like with principals and social workers within the schools, because I think that was another big gap that we were missing as an organization, is really partnering with those people that work with these families every single day, and they see issues that we may not see, and they kind of have that foot in the door already that we might be missing, because families aren't always willing or able, or they have hesitation to just pick up the phone and call and ask for help. So we're really trying to embed our message in the school system as much as possible, and we've gotten some really good response from the schools that we've reached out to so far, so we're going to continue with that. But an example of what we're kind of doing there is Rockford School District is going to be doing some different activities within their school district, focusing around kind of our campaign. They're going to focus around the blue message, but they're going to cater it to their message of things that they're already doing within their school. So they have a program within their school that's focused on anti-bullying and respecting others, which is, I'm assuming, pretty normal around other school districts in the area. But they're going to kind of tie in our message to that as well. So being that, there's elementary school students, middle school students, high school students, you have to cater one message that kind of fits everybody. So they're going to be working on that. They're going to be decorating pinwheels. They're going to be cutting out hands for us to use for the fundraiser, and really just kind of tying in the feel of blue for that month. So they're going to do a couple of blue days where kids can wear blue to school. And then St. Francis Xavier, which is a school in Buffalo, they are going to be doing just some more awareness within their school, We're hoping to do kind of a ribbon cutting event at one of the schools within the county to really highlight that we are declaring April Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month, and going forward, you know, this is going to be the month that we're really going to drive awareness and prevention and make sure that we're, as a community, standing behind these families and giving them the help that they need. What else are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing a social media campaign, hopefully where people are able to turn their Facebook profile pictures blue, and then in turn that will link to a fundraiser or a funding page, donate page, where people can go and donate to the program. So that's really cool. What else are we doing? That's all I can really think of offhand here, but yeah, we're really excited, and I think it's going to be a great outreach event for our program. We have to think through some of the logistics pieces, so I'm absolutely willing to take some feedback on that in terms of, you know, how to help with increased number of calls and that kind of stuff, given that we do have a limited number of staff, what that might look like. We're still kind of trying to find out some of those details, but my hope is that this year we kind of establish ourselves a little bit more deep into the community as a program that is here and ready to help the families, and then going forward we can expand. So kind of my big picture ideas, you know, businesses would put a blue light up in their establishments with a table tent that, you know, describes our program, and the blue light would stay on for the entire 30 days. So I think it's a really cool visual for people that go into these businesses. It'll draw their attention and just help raise awareness on a different level. And it kind of also has a symbol of just leaving the light on, and, you know, these kids aren't in the dark. And I think it just is a really cool message that can grow exponentially throughout the community. So that's kind of what we're thinking about doing for April. We also have a couple fundraising events that we're doing for that month. So we have a Dooley Pianos event that we're going to be at, selling tickets for a diamond that we got donated for our spring fundraiser. And then we have our big annual spring fundraiser that ends early the 22nd of April this year. It's usually the last Friday in April, but this year we moved it up a week. And that's really our big event for the year, where we invite tons of people, obviously, from the community that partner with us, some of the community leaders. We invite to come attend and really just help hear our message, talk about, you know, where we've come over the last year and kind of our hopes for the upcoming year, and have a great night with entertainment and auctions and raffles. And so we're really excited, but that's kind of how we plan to end the month there.
Thank you so much. Very exciting. A lot of effort, a lot of pieces to it, and I love the idea of painting the whole community blue, and in so many ways, in so many different activities and ways. I'm particularly interested. We might have to call you up and figure out, have you teach us how you do the turn your picture blue on Facebook. That would be a really fun thing to get happening more broadly and in more places.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually just a link that I found when the terrorist attacks happened in France, and everybody was sharing their Facebook. Somewhere I found a link, and I have it, so I can just send it to you and Roxy. And yeah, because I think it would be great to just kind of plaster that everywhere as much as possible. I think it would be a really cool thing to do.
Thank you. Then we can share it with the others who are here as well. Pass it on to you all. We'll be sending a follow-up evaluation for our webinar, as we often do, and we can include that link with it. Great.
Yeah, that
sounds
would be
like
awesome.
Looks like Roxy has her hand up, and Abby, if you're willing, I'll open it up for others who may have questions as well. Just raise your hand or type a question into the question box, and we can unmute Roxy.
Yeah.
Rox, what do you have to say? Looks like you may be muted on your end also. I unmuted you on my end, Roxy. There you go.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to also be working with the Advisory Council with the Crisis Nursery to do a proclamation at the county level So we can get our proclamation there, and then possibly invite some of those county commissioners to wherever the blue ribbon cutting is. So it's another thing we'll do.
And Roxy, for other places, and that's in Wright County as well. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah. If for others who might be interested in a proclamation, can you just say a little bit more about what you would do to get a county commissioner proclamation?
Right. Well, we have a template for the proclamation on our website, which I think Becky's going to be sending everybody, giving a little tutorial for people. But basically, it's to provide awareness. So, what are you doing in your county that is moving towards preventing something bad to happen, like child abuse? And so, we'll kind of look at the things that are happening. Certainly the Crisis Nursery has, been doing a wonderful job for a long time. They also started a Circle of Parents group in Buffalo, and we'll look at other things that are happening in the community and present that information to the county so that the county commissioners can have some idea about, what are some great ways that we can stop things before they happen, cost effectiveness to that, that sort of thing. So that's what you do. It's an awareness building, and it's a 24/7 job for the work we do.
Thanks so much. Anyone else have any questions for Abby? These moments for you to chime in are also good moments to take a pause. So I will take a pause. Well, if you're waiting, use the moment to take a breath and check in with yourself as well.
If anybody wants to email me after this too, like I said, this is the first year that we're doing something like this, and so we're open to suggestions or anything along those lines to help kind of, if anybody has done something like this before, to help make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible, or that we do have the appropriate people in place for, increased call volumes or what that might look like afterwards. I am more than willing to hear feedback, so do not hesitate to email me. And I think, do you want me to give my email?
Yeah, if you would, I'll put it right here so people can see it if you're willing to share it, and that way, yeah, people can have it if they want it.
Yep. So it's A-Dahl, D-A-H-L, at Nexus, NEXUS-KFF.org.
Great. Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments? I want to acknowledge Kate, who is, I think, helping in the background here to get our other panelists connected in a way that we can hear him. So that is in process. I see something coming in. Okay. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. So I will move on then. I'm going to set this agenda aside so that we can see the website for a moment here. And I've got it open to the Child Abuse Prevention Packet page, but I'm going to navigate around a little bit. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit for the screen to update for you all. So I'm clicking it, and hopefully it will take you to the home page of our website. Mary, if you're not seeing the website, can you tell me? And you can see it. And is it the front page with does it say, so the front page starts with a scrolling banner that shows you various things that are happening ongoing. And our website is www.pcamn.org. So we have the web, so you could also look at it yourself on your screen if you're having trouble seeing it or following it. But so the scrolling banner shows the spring coaching webinars, and there's a link that you can click to go to register there. I mentioned those earlier. There is a fee for them. However, there are also scholarships, so we don't want the cost to be prohibitive for anyone. And so if you want to learn more about it, this describes the webinars I mentioned earlier. The topics we'll be covering are empowering questions, a coach's stand, listening and making requests, challenges and accountability, acknowledgement and championing, interrupting and holding silence, stretch goals and creating accountability, exploring and clarifying values, self-management, visioning, and moving to action. So again, that starts actually already on March 2nd. So if you're interested, the time to sign up is now, and you can find that registration link on our website. A couple of other things that are happening sooner is February is Parent Leadership Month, so I just want to mention that, and we are going to be honoring parents across the state at an event on, well, let me click on it, on February 26th. So you're welcome to attend that as well. Oops. Oh, and then I mentioned earlier the happy hour event at the Macalester Alumni House, which the details of that are also. So all of those things are available from the front page of our website. Okay, so now I'm going to take you to the part of our website where we keep on a year-round basis resources that communities can use for doing child abuse prevention activities in their community. And it's under prevention resources for everyone and prevention materials. So if I click on that, takes a little bit of a minute here. I'm going to close some other things so we don't have competition. So this is, for many years ago, and those of you who we've been working with for a long time remember, we used to print a packet every year of ideas and suggestions that you could be doing in your communities and mail it out. As resources became tighter, we actually heard from a lot of you that you would prefer that we didn't spend the money on that so that money could be spent on other things. And also as technology changed, much of this became available electronically. So we now keep this on our website year-round. These are always here. We make an effort to update them each year as we're approaching April, and we've just done that. Also, however, April being still about a month and a half away, there may be additional things that get added to it. But this is a go-to place. So again, in case it's under prevention resources for everyone, and then prevention materials. So we are currently in the process of soliciting applications for the Pinwheel County and Tribe, and actually this year we're calling it Pinwheel Community recognition. You all are all folks who are doing lots, and I know that many of you have been recognized as a Pinwheel Community in years past. It's a recognition that can be annual, so we really encourage you to complete that. I believe that the application deadline is the end of the first week of March. So it's coming up. So please take a look at that and submit it. We send out a certificate, and it's something, when Roxy was talking about going to your county commissioners, it's a way that you can also build support in your community for the work that you're already doing, and by sharing that recognition with others in your community. And we want to recognize all the terrific work you guys are doing ongoing, and what a difference it makes for the children of the state. The webinar series that I mentioned is here as well. And then another reason that we stopped actually printing an annual resource booklet is that there's a really terrific booklet that is printed annually nationally. And I'm gonna, right now, the 2015 one is still what's up and available on that website. So I'm gonna just click on it to show you. Many of you may have seen this. We will be getting some printed versions of the 2016 version, and so if you'd like a printed copy, we can send you one of those. You can also request them directly from this website if you want a few more for your community. And so it's like just lots and lots of terrific resources in it. They don't generally make a lot of changes year to year, so a lot of, and what's in here is from 2015 is still really useful. Roxy talked about proclamations. They have proclamations works there. They have lots of different tip sheets. We can look at that can be shared in your community, keeping your family strong, making healthy connections, feeding your family, preventing sexual abuse, managing stress, lots and lots of things in English and in Spanish. A lot geared around the protective factors, which we've talked about for many years, the protective factors in practice. They give some scenarios and show that information. An activity calendar that you can use and adapt with families, 30 ways to promote child well-being during National Child Abuse Prevention Month. There's one for parents, there's one for programs, there's one for community partners. Really just terrific resources and ways that you can encourage members at every level in your community to do things in Child Abuse Prevention Month in April. So I can't say enough about this resource. It's really chock full of terrific, useful ideas and tools. Also, media toolkit information for working with the media. So we used to create a lot of this kind of thing every year and make adaptations for it, and there's no sense doing that when there's such a great resource out there. So this will be here when the 2016 one comes available. We will also update it on our website. I'm going to pause and just check in and see if Lowell might be available on the line yet. Okay, Kate is on the phone with Lowell, so I will keep going. And maybe, Kate, you can let me know when he's ready, if it's working, and we'll... It is not working. Okay. Well, I'll take a little bit to share what some of, and maybe Mary can actually help to share some of what's happening in Brainerd if we don't get this working. But I'll finish up here. Sorry for the jumping around. Just thought I would check in. Okay. So also then we have some general information about Minnesota Communities Caring for Children, about protective factors, telling the core story of prevention. This is actually something we created many years ago, but that's gives a basic PowerPoint to talk about brain science and understanding how the science of development sets a strong foundation for a lifetime of health and social well-being. Then I'm going to take a minute to talk about the Pinwheels for Prevention campaign. And so many of you have known for the last several years we've been using pinwheels as a sign of healthy childhoods and encouraging communities to raise awareness around promoting health through the pinwheel, using the pinwheel. Abby talked about doing pinwheel coloring and cutouts in the schools as one of the activities they're going to be doing in Wright County. So there's a link to information about the National Pinwheels for Prevention campaign, and even our Prevent Child Abuse Minnesota logo now has a pinwheel in it. So it's a branding thing, getting the word out there. Makes me wonder if we could get a pinwheel looped into that Facebook Facebook idea as well at some point. If you would like to order pinwheels for your communities, we did have an order form go out last fall for advance orders, but it is still, at the moment anyway, we still are able to order additional pinwheels. We try to do it in the fall because that's when the national order goes in, and then we can be sure of having them. So there is always a possibility that they may run out from the warehouse that supplies them, but for the moment they are still available. So you can just fill out this form. It'll alert us that you've made an order, and we can ship them out to you. One of the things that's encouraged across the country is planting of pinwheel gardens. Now in Minnesota in April, getting a pinwheel in the ground can sometimes be a real challenge, so there are lots of other ways that can be done. Nationally, they've done a pinwheel event in Times Square the last couple of years. I think they're looking to try to do one in Washington, D.C. this year. As I mentioned earlier with the Twins game, we're going to be, that's going to be our finish off the month pinwheel opportunity. Get people to come wearing blue and hand out pinwheels and hopefully get some good visuals for that as well. Then there's also, some communities have also done used pinwheels as a way to raise funds through like a local business, a grocery store, or that kind of thing. And this is a promotion that you can use where you can actually, there's a barcode on it that stores can use. It's not opening up for me here. Oh, yeah, I'll pull it over here so you can see it. So there's both the information about the promotion and also the two different things you can log to. One's a description of the promotion, the other is a page with 4 pinwheels. And so you've seen in banks and grocery stores and that kind of things, you can buy it for $1, a piece of paper that has a picture of a pinwheel on it and put your name on it, and they can put them up on the wall, that kind of thing. So that tool is here for you as well. And then some PSAs. These PSAs have not been updated recently, but I think they're still really good. And so if you're looking for PSAs, they're available here on the website. And then just some additional resources that are available ongoing. I won't go through all of those individually. So I will pause again a moment here and see if there are any questions or comments. And Mary, if you see anything that you could read out, you can let me know.
Nothing right now.
Okie doke. Nothing in my questions box is flashing at me. Tammy asked, I don't know, maybe it's not showing up on your questions box, Mary. Tammy asked, is the blue ribbon still used as well, or is that being placed by the pinwheel? Great question. It's actually being replaced by the pinwheel. And that's part of the idea of really shifting our focus, which is something over the last probably 10 years we've been doing. And I'll just take a moment to speak to that. When our organization was founded and the national movement towards preventing of child abuse and neglect was founded over 30 years ago, 1979, maybe, is that 40 years ago now? I need to do my math. Coming on, I guess. In 2019, it'll be 40 years. There was not a widespread awareness that child abuse and neglect was a problem. And so a lot of our efforts were around, and even in the domestic violence movement too, there was a lot of language around bringing it out of the closet and talking about out of the darkness into light, and talking about things that had been kind of taboo to talk about, that was family secrets, and so there wasn't a broad awareness of the severity of the problem. Now it is. Now it's very well known, frequently reported in newspapers. It's not, well, certainly it may still be that it's difficult for families to talk about it. The community awareness of it as a problem has really shifted. And in fact, when there are horrible cases of child abuse and neglect, they are well reported, and people know that it's a problem, and people are working to address it. And so about 10 years ago, nationally and locally, we started to realize that people knew it was a problem, but and so we'd achieved that result. But what we hadn't achieved was the ability to know what to do about it. And in fact, we discovered that the more we talk about, and the blue ribbon was used to raise awareness about that it was a problem. And often, blue ribbons would be used to indicate number of children who died in a year, that kind of thing. Excuse me. And we discovered that, in fact, talking about the worst case scenarios often made it harder for people to reach out and get the supports that they needed, and for people to know what to do. That as we think about when we tell the horror stories, it triggers our own protective systems, our own nervous system's responses, which are often about fight and flight. And when we go to fight or flight, we may be able, it helps us protect ourselves in the moment, but it may not help us build the infrastructures and make the change that we want so that it doesn't happen in the first place. So we shifted a lot of the way we talk about prevention to focus on what the outcomes that we want are, and to think about what is it we can do to create healthy childhoods. So for example, if a parent is struggling, it's much easier for the parent to say, I really need some help to create a strong foundation for my children, to reach out for that kind of supportive help. On the other side, though, if it's much harder for a parent to come forward and say, I need help to stop abusing, because there's so much shame and so many layers of, and they may well face anger from others. So in our prevention efforts, we've really been focused. That's the reason for a shift from the blue ribbon to the pinwheel, a reason for use of more positive language around what we're trying to achieve, because when we talk about what we want, it's a lot easier to do to make it happen, to have doable actions. I remember when my kids were young and I was in early childhood family education that works with small children too. If you say to a child, don't kick the ball, you probably all know what they're likely to do. They're going to kick the ball. That's the part they hear. Or whereas if you say, pick up the ball and put it away, that's something you can do more easily than a don't. And the same is true with us as adults. If we say, smile at parents when they're under stress, open doors, reach out, have empathy, provide supports, that is something that's much easier to do than if you're in a grocery store and you see a parent and a child starting to have a conflict and you're primed with prevent abuse. Then you're going to think, oh my gosh, they're going to abuse their child, and you may freeze. You may have a freeze response. You may have an I don't know what to do in this situation response. You may be have an angry response, which then probably will trigger greater response from the parent, especially if it's just a beginning kind of level interaction. Whereas if you see you see tension rising between a parent and a child, and you think, oh, I can distract or I can have empathy, you can say, oh man, isn't it rough being a parent in a public place or in a grocery store where they put all the stuff you don't want the kids to have where they can reach it. And so I sort of went on a long while about that transition from the pinwheel to from the blue ribbon to the pinwheel, but that's the thinking behind really focusing on how do we create healthy childhoods, and how do we use a symbol, a new symbol that represents that in a different way. So I hope that was helpful. Other questions or comments? I don't see any hands raised.
There are a couple questions.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wondering if anybody has used the barcode at a business and how that went. Then related to the pinwheel, should we discard any materials that we are using that have the blue ribbon? We have giveaways with the blue ribbon, including toys, pens, etc.
You know, that question I would our preference is that you focus on the pinwheel, I guess is what I'd say. I mean, it's really up to you whether you I don't want to tell you that you should get rid of stuff that you invested in and that you've used it in terms of giveaways. And so I'll leave that to your discretion, and just would encourage you in your talking and your presenting and what you talk about to focus on pinwheel pieces. And yeah, hope that answers it.
There's also a question about getting electronic clip art of the pinwheel logo, the MCCC logo, that people can use in their local efforts with print and social media.
That is a great question. Let me check on that. I'll check on it and we'll follow up with you all in an email. I need to I don't know what the graphic standards requirements are from Prevent Child Abuse America in terms of, I think the MCCC logo we can make a decision about ourselves, but I'll check with, I'll have a marketing question about that and try to get back to you in a couple days about that.
And if we could give anybody an opportunity to answer whether or not they've used the barcode at the business.
Yes.
If you want to raise your hand, we can let you know. I know in the past that was used in Becker County, and I'm not quite sure how well it did, but it was very easy for them to do. It was a matter of approaching the stores and asking if they could do this, and they had no problem printing it out and having it ready. I think it's going to be a lot of more that word of mouth and promotion that way to make people aware of it, but the technical aspects of it was very easy to do, and I know that they had it in, I think, 3 grocery stores in throughout Becker County. So that part was the easy part.
So since we were not able to get Lowell patched in from Brainerd, Lowell Johnson, Mary, I wonder if you might say a little bit and then I can fill in about what's happening in Brainerd, just to sort of share another community example.
Sure. You filling in will probably be more knowledgeable than I will on it. The Brainerd area, they're calling in Lakes area, Circle of Parents, Brainerd. They have just started up their Circle of Parents group in January after several months of lots of hard work by the community to get the group going again. They used to have a circle group there. And tied in with that is Lowell Johnson, who had gone through the ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences cohort, and wanted to bring this to other folks in the Brainerd area and the Crow Wing County area, because they had so many requests for people to present that they couldn't keep up with it. So they recently, was it December or November or December?
November. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did a cohort where they trained, I think it was about 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that many? To be ACEs presenters for their area. And that came from, and I'm not going to get the name right, and Becky, you will know this, the, oh, my mind is going blank now. I have it right in front of me. Shoot, what is the name of their group thing?
Oh, Crow Wing Energize, is that what you're thinking about?
Yes. Yes, I knew it was something, the Crow Wing Energize. And I think, Becky, you've probably got some more information on that than I do. And it's really about just creating a community that's very aware and trauma informed and responsive for the Crow Wing County area.
Yeah, thank you. And I mentioned when I was talking about the Paper Tigers movie earlier, I mentioned the Walla Walla, Washington experience, and some of you may know, but I'll just state briefly for anyone who may not, that one of our I would say our primary awareness and education effort over the last few years has been through a curriculum called Building Self-Healing Communities that talks about the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, or ACEs as we use for a shortcut, and I have that. There's under Engaging Minnesota Communities and the Trauma Informed Care Technical Assistance Center. There's information on our website about that. It also looks at understanding the science of trauma and the brain, and then how do we build community? How do we build a community, learning communities in geographically based potentially, to really bring community wisdom into that process of making change at the community level, similar to what the experience was in Walla Walla, Washington. And so we have a network of folks across the state of Minnesota who can present this curriculum, and have just begun the process of training presenters in a community-based way. And Brainerd was the first place that did that. They said, we would like to have the Lowell and Susan Bolio, who were both trained as presenters in one of our statewide groups, were getting so much interest in the Brainerd area, the Lakes region, for presentations that it was more than the two of them could handle, and they thought, we really need more people sharing this in our community, and more people working together across systems to look at what are we already doing, what are we learning from other communities, and what do we know about our community that will help us bring our own creativity to this process. So that's tied together with their Circle of Parents in an interesting way. The number of people who are then involved in the Circle of Parents are also involved in that cohort work, and then connected with Crow Wing Energize, which has been doing lots of great work around wellness. They've had an effort around gratitude and the science of gratitude, and a number of other things that are just really promoting wellness in their community. And it's not a specific to April piece, but I wanted to share it because it's interesting, creative work happening here in Minnesota, and will be fun to watch where it goes and how it evolves. All right, I will pause again to see if there's anyone who would like to say something or has a question or wants to share something from your community. Or just needs a deep breath. Roxy, I see your hand.
Yeah. I would just like to share that we will be doing a Circle of Parents facilitator training in March in central Minnesota. I don't have an exact date and location yet, but it will either be March 5th or March 19th. Both of those are on a Saturday. It'll be from 10 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. So if you're considering starting a Circle of Parents in central Minnesota or any other part of our state, please give us a call, get more information. Once we have the exact date and location, we will post that on our website. But again, as we know, Circle of Parents is a great way to bring parents together and have informal support and connections and be able to talk about parenting in a way that they can't in any other arena. So just want to put a plug in for our Circle of Parents and the training coming up.
Thank you. And that reminds me, you've heard Mary speak, who is our Director of Regional Prevention Initiatives in Northwest Minnesota, and Roxy Foster, who just spoke, who is our Director of Prevention Initiatives in Central and Northeastern Minnesota. Lisa Deputy spoke and had her picture up a little while ago, who is Director of Prevention Initiatives in the metro area, and then Barb Sorum, who's also on the line, is the Director of Prevention Initiatives in Southern Minnesota. And I will also include in the follow-up email all of their names and contact information. If you aren't already connected to the your regional staff person from Minnesota Communities Caring for Children, then you will know how to reach them for Circle of Parents work, any other things that you may be wanting to do in your community around prevention. They would love to know and be in conversation with you about it. Okay.
Tammy had a question related to additional training for Circle of Parents. So we might want to, Roxy will be sending out information and we will distribute it. Barb, Lisa, and I will distribute it amongst our contacts to make sure that everybody gets information on when that training will be. And if it does not work out, we can work with you to set something up that will work.
Great, yeah. So Tammy has a Circle of Parents group also in Scott and Carver County, I think. Is that right? Yes, she says. And so if any of you already have Circle of Parents like she does and want additional staff trained, that is a great opportunity to connect to a training that's already happening, and or we can make arrangements for others. Although it's really nice when you can have a group of people together participating in the training. That helps with conversation and shared learning that way too. So thanks for mentioning that, Roxy.
Lisa, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Lisa.
I just wanted to add something about the Circle of Parents training. The one that is coming up in March, the dates are all that are to be considered are all on Saturday. So a couple of my facilitators can't make it on this Saturday. So I'm also going to be doing a Circle of Parents facilitation training as well. So if some can't make it on Saturday, then you have an option to make it to the one that I'm also having in March. The date hasn't been confirmed yet, but it'll definitely be another facilitation training for March as well.
So Tammy, Roxy, Barb, and Lisa will all make sure that you get all of those dates so you know. So if it works for your folks to join either of those, that will make that happen. Thank you all. All right, so I just have a couple of more things I want to touch on and mention. One is that some communities in the past have done a Wear Blue Day, and so that's something you could easily promote in your community, suggesting that people wear blue. And across the national network of child abuse prevention, your state name here, Prevent Child Abuse State Names, the network has sort of landed on the first Friday in April as a Wear Blue Day. So if you'd like to sort of join in on that national effort, that is, let's see, Friday, April. I don't have the April calendar up in front of me, but it's the first Friday of April. And we will, I'm sure, be sending out information about that and mentioning it as well. And then the other thing I wanted to just mention is our annual gala, which is at a lovely location on Lake Calhoun, Stand for Children, Saturday, April 9th. It's a really fun event at the Minnetonka Club. And we would love to have as many of you join us as are able. We honor Champions for Children each year at the gala, and and it's fun and it's festive, and it's in April, and so you're welcome to join us if you're able. So I think I have touched on everything I wanted to share today. Anybody else have something from your community that you want to share, or questions before we move to closing? Okay, well, hearing none, I would like to close with sharing with you all, and then hopefully hearing from you as well, about love. I have been reading lately a book by Bell Hooks called All About Love, and I found it really interesting and particularly related to our work, as she talks about her experience growing up in her family, and how one thing in particular is how we think of love as a feeling, and we don't really define what that means and what all the parts for a child are about feeling love, and how much healing, how much of our healing that needs to happen is sometimes around not having felt love. And she interestingly talks about how we may feel care, and there may be many things that we like about our family, but love is sort of just this not very well frequently defined idea. And so looking more broadly at all the components of it. And so a definition that she points to, actually from M. Scott Peck's book, The Road Less Traveled, is love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. And they talk specifically about spiritual not being a particular religion, but really caring for the soul, and that can apply across many belief systems. Love is as love does. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. And will also implies choice. We do not have to love, we choose to love. And this piece about a definition and talking specifically about it is something we don't do a lot of. And I really liked what then Bell Hooks herself had to say, is that to truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. And then she says, had I been given a clear definition of love earlier in my life, it would not have taken me so long to become a more loving person. Had I shared with others a common understanding of what it means to love, it would have been easier to create love. And it makes me think of, for some years, one of the things we've done are parent cafes, and those are also called Love is Not Enough parent cafes. And I was reflecting a little bit on, again, with this definition, we think of love as just something we automatically feel. And what they're suggesting is we automatically feel care, perhaps, we feel affection, but that if we talked about loving as something that's more about a verb than a noun, it's something we do, and talked about how we do it, it might help us both understand our childhoods in a way that that can help us heal the parts that are wounded and embrace the parts that are well, and also think about, now, how do we do this in a way that helps promote health going forward for future generations. And so, and partly I think it just having been Valentine's Day and thinking about love and how do we talk and think about love with the work that we do. As we close, I'd like you to just take a moment again to reflect on what does it mean to love for you? Like, what are the actions that we can be doing to promote love and to create wellness? And so if you take a moment to reflect, and maybe in the chat box, or if you want to raise a hand, check out thinking about, we talked about as we started, what helps us feel well. And now, what can we do? What's something you would like to think about doing this week for the wellness of others around you, to act on, to choose to act on love, to choose to intentionally nurture the spirit of someone else. So the simple version of that is, as we check out, what will you do this week to promote wellness?
I like to share.
Okay. Lisa.
I've always found that doing random acts of kindness always helps with sharing love.
Random acts of kindness. Thank you. Someone said, love myself, and that is a great one. We often don't extend to ourselves the compassion that we extend to others. So thank you for that. Eat well and exercise. Helping, hugging, sharing kind words, and encouraging others. I'm reading them as they come in through the question box. Thank you.
Hey, you're quicker than me.
Oh, you can go from now, Mary.
All right. We also have, I will put more effort into really being present to others and really listen and not have my mind elsewhere. In teaching that love is a verb, we also do random acts much like Secret Santa.
I like that one also shares that you don't necessarily people don't have to know that you're doing it for them. And somehow you get something from that as well, even the giver. And in giving we receive, right? The act of giving is fulfilling.
I also like to say, not being judgmental, to learn to accept, to tolerate differences.
Setting aside judgment. And sometimes it helps to shift to when you notice yourself feeling judgmental, to try to open up curiosity instead. Can help shift judgment.
And I think it kind of comes back to some of what we present with the adverse childhood experiences, is that it's looking at things as not what's wrong with you, but what's happened to you, and approaching it from that angle. No matter if it's my kids being annoying or if it's the stranger who's cutting me off as I'm going down the road, I can kind of come at it from a more empathetic and caring and loving place.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. I think we will wrap up a little early. If there are any other questions or comments, I'll stay on for a couple minutes and be happy to address those. But we really appreciate your being here. Thank you, Abby, for being willing to share your experience from your area, and Lowell for giving it a serious effort and trying to get across the technical difficulties. Again, and thanks for the rest of you for being here and for participating through the question box and sharing your perspectives and questions. We really appreciate it and are very grateful to be partnering with all of you in this work. Thank you.
Thank you all.